Hey guys, what's going on? Today I'm excited. I'm finally doing a really fun mod to my Audi S3, and that, as you can see behind me, is an intake. So in this video I'm going to go through an intake pipe with a heat shield, the turbo muffler delete, as well as the turbo elbow. I'm going to do all of that in the one hit. I just figure while I'm in that location I may as well take care of all of it at the same time. This here is the Kyostar, I don't really know how to pronounce it, intake for the Audi S3 / Mark 7 and 7.5 Golf R. That's quite rigid metal of some sort. I don't know if that's aluminium or what it is, but it's got quite a nice powder coating on it. It feels very solid. Like, I really can't flex that much at all, which I wasn't expecting from the listing. I thought it was going to be quite thin. Yeah, soft plastic even. I wasn't really sure what I was expecting. That's pretty cool. So some more heat shield pieces here. This is the main component here. This is the big show. So there you go. That's pretty good there. It's solid. All right, what's in this little bag? I probably don't need to open it, but there's, looks like a silicone joiner, some hose clamps, as well as a little piece of edging there. And what's in the box? I assume this is going to be the air filter. And there we go, there's some instructions as well. Dry air filter cleaning instructions. There doesn't appear to be any instructions for the actual installation, although it does seem to be fairly straightforward. There's the filter itself. So in these two boxes, we also have the, this should be the turbo muffler delete. It comes with a seal here of some sort. I'll have to figure out where that goes in a second. And in this box should be the turbo elbow as well. That actually looks quite nice. Looks solid, feels solid, nice powder coating. It's got these two seals here on the end, a little bracket to hold it to the, I think it's to the actual turbo. Cool, all right, this all looks pretty good so far. Let's go and piece it together. Alrighty, so here's everything laid out on the table. This is everything that I have to put on the car today. So this filter actually looks pretty good, I have to admit. I'm happy with the quality there. Happy with the quality of all this stuff as well. The only thing I've noticed straight off the bat is this piece up here seems to be bent a little bit too far backwards, and I think that was a problem with shipping. So this piece here, you can see, has a little bit of a curve to it, which I don't think is supposed to be there. It doesn't quite line up with this piece, which is supposed to kind of sit up here. I'll just bend this the way that it needs to go. I think I should be able to fix that fairly easily. Okay, so let's go ahead and start piecing this all together. So it'll probably be like that. So we want to keep it at about 90 degrees. Oh, it's not straight. It has to be straight. Okay, that seems pretty good for now. Ah, it's crooked on this side. Damn it. There we go. Okay, there we go. One intake pipe ready to put in the car. Let's move on to the heat shield. Okay, so for the construction of this heat shield, I'm just trying to figure this out as I go because there were no instructions included, but I'm not stupid, so let's try to figure this out. First of all, there's 3 of these, which I'm going to assume has something to do with these. So this might be like where they mount to, possibly. We'll just leave those for now, and we'll come back to that. So from the marketing photos that I could see online, it looks like this piece sits on top of this piece, like that. This piece at the back here wraps around the back of this. What I have to do, I think, is bend this forwards this way a little bit so this can go around the back. So it shouldn't be too hard, I just have to be gentle. Okay, so sorry I couldn't quite film that. I just had to sort of put it on the edge of the table and press down on it. All right, I'll just have to fold it up a little bit more. Oh yeah, it's definitely making a difference. So if you have a look on that side on there, you can see it's much straighter, much flatter. So that might be enough to start bolting it together. Let's give it a go. So it looks like it's about a 7mm socket required for that nut. What I might do is turn the drill down to one of the lowest settings because I don't want to accidentally bend any of this metal with torque from the drill. Alright, I might leave that just a little bit loose for now. We'll go ahead and get the rest of these nuts in and then we'll tighten them all up at the same time. There we go, and then one last one at the very top here. So there's the heat shield. all that's left to do is tighten all of those nuts, and I think we can go and start removing the factory airbox. I've never removed an airbox on one of these just yet, but we're going to work it out. So probably worth noting that all of these are a T25 Torx bit to take the lid off the airbox. Alright, so there's the lid off there. So I'm going to get some pliers and remove that clamp next. So there's this extra hose there, which I think it should just pull out. Something I've never been great at. So that's the lid for the factory airbox removed. There we go. Now I've also already removed, there was a snow grate sitting in here previously. So that is one way to get a little bit of extra sound, but I wanted more. So that's why we are where we are now. Alright, so now we're going to be removing the Torx bolts holding in this front dam, or snorkel I believe they call it. So now with that loose, we should be able to, I better remove this coolant hose as well. There we go. So now what we want to do is separate the airbox from this intake dam snorkel thing here. Okay, so I forgot to undo these extra Torx bolts on the outside of where the snorkel bolts to the body as well. The snorkel should be more free, and it is. There we go. Bye bye snorkel. And so there you go, that's the stock airbox removed. Once it's separated from the snorkel across the front of the engine bay, it just pulls straight up off the three little rubber grommets that hold it in place. Very cool, very easy. So next step is to finish removing this intake hose. So this goes onto the turbo elbow, which is down there. So there is no room at the back here, but it is fairly simple. There seems to be one hose clamp holding this pipe on. So that is the rest of the intake piping off. Now, while we're in here, we're also going to remove the turbo elbow, which is basically the inlet to the turbo. All right, so here's a look at the stock turbo inlet elbow. So that is the, one of the ends of it there. So all we have to do is disconnect this PCV line here, and then there is one bolt. You can see it there. So that's a T30. So remove the PCV line, and then that T30 bolt, and this whole thing should just pop out. It's one side out. These little pick tools are amazing. There we go. So it was just as simple as, pulling up this plastic ring and pulling outwards while pulling upwards sort of thing. So fairly straightforward, just a pain in the butt. Okay, turbo elbow removal. There we go. So just turning it sideways, and there we go. That is our stock inlet elbow. I just like to replace that pipe with one that maintains the correct diameter the whole way through the bend. It sort of stands to reason that that will equal more airflow, therefore more horsepower in the end. So, all right, the next thing that we're going to do is remove or loosen the intercooler pipe that wraps around to the turbo, and then remove the stock turbo muffler. So that's just going to open up that track a little bit more as well. A little bit more airflow. I don't think you're supposed to get much of a performance gain from the turbo muffler delete, but while I'm in there, I'm just going to do it just for the sake of the noise anyway. Okay, so we need to loosen this bolt so that this intercooler pipe can flex a little bit, and then maybe remove, I don't know if you can see down there, maybe remove these hose clamps, and then finally the muffler itself is on the turbo there. So there's one of the bolts there holding it in, there's three around it. So it's not easy to get to, but let's give it a go. So this one down here looks like a T30 again, which is nice. Oh, there you go, that was easy. So in order to get some more room into that turbo area there, I've decided to remove the battery and battery tray. I was trying to avoid doing that just because it is obviously more work, but I think in the long run it's going to make it easier. I've dropped my socket twice already trying to get onto the bolts down there, so I think having this all removed, I can kind of go down and across instead of trying to fight getting down there. So a bit annoying, but it is what it is. So it looks like the battery terminals are about a 10mm, and then there's a couple of bolts around the edge holding it in place. This one here is a 13mm, and yeah, I guess it should be fairly straightforward. So we'll go and do that now. Okay, so that's the front bracket loose. So yeah, there wasn't another bracket around the back. The battery just sits here, slides backwards, and then the bracket at the front is what locks it in place. So that's pretty cool. That was nice and easy. Now, how to remove the tray. There is another one down here. It's the same T25 though by the look of it. Okay, tray is starting to move. Looks like a 10mm at the back here, and we should be free. There we go. Yeah, didn't need that anyway. Ah, there's just a bunch of cables still attached to it, which is so annoying. There you go, that's no longer attached. Oh, there we go. Cool. So now that there's all this free room, you can actually see what I'm talking about down the back here. So there's the turbo, a little bit of oil in it, and here is the turbo muffler. So this is basically the outlet of the turbo. That open hole over there is the inlet into the turbo. That's where my new air filter is going to be feeding air into. So it gets spun up by the exhaust turbine and then comes out here faster. But there is a muffler in there that we want to remove. So we're just going to pop that hose off and then take those 3 bolts off. So that's free now, so we can kind of wiggle that around, loosen these hose clamps, and remove that. Whew, got a bit of blow by here. There we go. Okay, that one's nice and loose. I should be able to pull the pipe off. There we go. Okay, now that pipe's off, I can access this one. Okay, let's have a look at why this is so oily here. So I think I found the problem. You can very clearly see this side of the pipe is alright, and as it goes around, it's been pinched the last time it was put on. Okay, so I need to replace this hose, which frickin' sucks, because now I can't drive my car. It looks like this doesn't actually go all the way through, so I think if I fix this up and just have it sitting up in the correct position, it should make a proper seal again. Is not great. But anyway, long story short, I think this is salvageable. If not, a new one of these is about $170. So yeah, I'm going to hope this is salvageable as long as it doesn't get pinched over like that. That's just really dumb. That's just a lack of care by whoever put that on. I have just quickly degreased everything around here so that once I get everything back together, I'll then be able to notice if I do have any oily blow-by coming out and getting all over the pipes and stuff again, or if, you know, if I don't see any build-up anywhere down there, then I know that I've put this on correctly. So, all right, let's go ahead and get this turbo muffler out. There's 3 bolts that should be holding it in place. They look like they're about a 5mm internal hex head. So that is one. Okay, so I've loosened all of the other 2 bolts there, so they should just be hand tight. So there we go. Put those there. So now all that's left to do, hopefully, is I think we just pull, and this whole muffler, there you go. So there is the turbo muffler, and we're replacing that with a piece without these holes in the side, so that it just forces the air straight through instead of being made turbulent and quieter like this OEM piece. So that's the factory airbox and all the intake piping that leads to the turbo removed. as well as the turbo muffler completely gone as well. So now it's just a matter of starting to replace those pieces with the aftermarket pieces that I had on the bench before. So yeah, let's go ahead and we'll start putting those bits and pieces into the Audi now. Okay, so here is my new turbo muffler delete. I've gone and put the seal in the little groove for the seal, and I've just put a little bit of oil around that just to help it slide in. And then there's also this piece here, so I've kind of got halfway and I thought I should film this. So this can slide in just as it is, but this piece, I've lubed it up as well a little bit just to help it slide into this groove. This piece actually ends up sitting basically flush up against the outlet of the turbo. So this section along the top kind of crushes a little bit, and I think that helps seal a little bit on the inside that way, as well as this O-ring should help seal the outside. So it just presses in as you go around. So that seal is quite tight inside that groove as it is, and then this will also get pushed slightly backwards as well. Oh yeah, you can feel that O-ring actually is causing a little bit of resistance. That's actually kind of nice. It's reassuring to feel that. Actually, I'll get some silicone spray. Alright, so that's just a bit of a silicone spray around that O-ring, which will help it slide in instead of causing any kind of excess pressure or friction. We don't want friction on an O-ring as it's trying to seal. Yep, there we go. That is in as far as it can go. You can feel there is a little bit of pressure at the end there. If I press it in, it does go all the way, but if I let go, you can see that little seal in the end is trying to flex. So by the time I bolt this down, that seal is going to be hard up against the end of that little tunnel. So that's going to be quite a nice seal. That actually makes me feel a lot better about this setup. So I'm just going to put all of these bolts in just hand tight for now. Then I'll go around and do them all up with the socket. I have no fears about that not sealing now that I see the way that works. That's really, really cool. This is the bottom one. I can't film this one, but just pretend that it looks exactly the same as the top ones. So this is the 5mm hex, or H5 I think they call it. Just going hand tight, basically just based on how small these bolts are. I don't want to overdo them. And then the bottom one, this bottom one is really easy to reach now that there's no battery in the car. Definitely remove the battery. Don't be stubborn like me, just remove the battery. If you're doing this yourself at home watching this, just remove the battery. It's like 4 bolts or something, and it just made all of this so much simpler. There we go, one turbo muffler delete installed. So now I'm going to go ahead and get this hose put on that and hook up the intercooler charge pipe. Alrighty, so I've managed to flip this hose around and push the hose further down onto this hard pipe so that the clamp is sitting on that side of this potential split. So even if this does go all the way through, or even if it doesn't right now, but it does split all the way through in the future, this will basically be clamping the hose on that side, and no air will be able to get past the clamp anyway. So that's good that I found that, and it's good that I could kind of save this without having to replace it, because this hose is unnecessarily expensive. So we have one muffler delete installed. We've got this hose with the 2 hose clamps back on. All that's left to do here with this pipe is put this bolt back in to hold it in place. Then we can finish off the intake with the elbow and the nice pod filter intake. Okie dokie. Alright, so the elbow is in. I still have to rotate it this way a little bit more, but it's just freaking hard. Oh god, it's definitely going to be sealed. See if we can get the bolt in there now. Nah, not even close. I'm probably about halfway through rotating it around now. There is the new turbo elbow with 2 extremely tight seals inside, so I would be very surprised if there is ever any leaks from there. So I've already done this bolt up, and that's what actually helped rotate the elbow up the whole way. So now all that's left to do is reconnect this PCV line there. Hopefully that just clips in place. Very good. Oh, that's cool as that's already locked in there. Awesome. All right, so that's the turbo muffler delete, turbo elbow. Alrighty, so that's the battery tray now back in place. There's this nut at the back and then 3 other, I think they're T25 bolts holding it in place. So I'm just going to go and do those up now. Oh, I guess it went in. Very cool. So that's all the boring stuff out of the way. Now it's time for the actual intake pipe, pod filter, whatever you want to call that. This is the part that I've been looking forward to the most because number 1, you can see it and it looks cool. And number 2, it's probably responsible for most of the sound upgrade. So let's get that in now. Rightio, so here are the 3 rubber mounts. Ah, okay, I'll get some silicone on that. There we go. So that's one there, and then the last one over here. So there was a definite moment where it kind of clicked into place. Now I assume we just lower this in on top of those. Looks pretty good. I think it looks pretty good. Alright, so I just pulled the heat shield out again and I just decided to put the factory air intake dam thing. I just think it'll fit a bit better with this in place. As much as I kind of want to get rid of this, I think it'll fit this area better and it'll actually direct cool air into there as well, so it might be a good idea. Yeah, see, that looks nice. I hate to say it, but I think it has to stay. Alright, so that's the heat shield in place loosely. The factory, I don't know what you call this, scoop, that's all in place. So now we will press the heat shield into the right place for the final time, hopefully. Now the fun part. So I've just loosened that off a little bit. Put that onto the elbow, like so. Boom, that is in place. Then there is a bolt that helps support this by bolting this to the side of the fuel pump here. So there's the intake, and I don't know if we can get down low enough here, you'll be able to see just there's a little tab there. So we have a bolt that will join that tab to the side of the fuel pump there. And now you'll see the intake can't be moved at all because it's been held in place onto the side of the fuel pump. So all that's left to do, well, there's 2 things left to do. Number 1 is finish clamping down the silicone coupler at the back there. But before we do that, I just wanted to quickly point out the fact that this intake actually has provision for this tiny vacuum line that I was freaking out about the whole time. Well, it's gone now. But anyway, this vacuum line that I pulled off the stock Airbox literally comes around here and just plugs in underneath here. That's awesome. Cool, and there's the bolt holding it onto the side of the fuel pump. So just one thing left to do, and that is tighten that last hose clamp on the back of the engine bay where the new intake goes onto the new turbo elbow. Rightio. I think that's all done. Look at that. Whew. Alrighty, let's go for a test drive. Why is all this happening? Is this just because I had the battery unplugged? What the hell? Alrighty, so this is the test drive. Everything sounds pretty good so far. All the error messages and stuff that came up when I first started the car have all disappeared as soon as I started rolling. I think it's just because the battery was disconnected, so it's just freaking out for a second, but yeah, it's all good now. Oh my god, that is so sick. So obviously the sound was the main reason that I wanted to install this intake. So I figured it's probably important to get out and get some sound clips, you know, as good of a quality as I can record with the equipment that I have. At about 2,000 or 3,000, you can hear this nice big psh as you let off the throttle. So I'm hoping this camera picks that up. I'm going to put that window down, which is closest to the intake side. Turn the fan off and let's give it a go. Holy cow, so good. It's loud without being too loud, I think. I don't think it's too loud. It might be too loud for some people, but I suppose it depends the way that you're trying to drive as well. You know, sometimes I want to drive sedately, and other times I want to drive like I'm, you know, bloody F1 driver. And when I'm driving when I want to be an F1 driver, I want people to look and I want people to hear me coming. Such a satisfying sound. Oh, I love it. That's so cool. So there you go, guys. That's a couple of sound clips of the new intake, doing a few drive-bys and that sort of stuff. I hope that the camera picks up just how nice this intake sounds, because it really does sound good. It sounds super sporty. It sounds like a bloody race car. It's so nice. And guys, make sure you let me know what you think. How do you think this sounded? I love it, but there might be people out there who think it sounds like crap. And if that's the case, I want to know. Let me know. You know, let me know if you think my $200 intake was worth it. I think so, but you tell me. So guys, as always, if you found this video useful, please make sure you subscribe to the channel, drop a like on this video, and I'll see you in the next one with plenty more Audi mods to come. And hopefully we can see if we can get this car into the 10-second quarter mile club. So I'll see you in the next one.